One of the things I marvel at is a dog's ability to stay focused on what they're pursuing. So it could be a duck or a pheasant. It's something marvelous to behold. And it seems as though nothing else exists. And I think that's a perfect picture of how our pursuit of God should be. I grew up in a home. It was a great growing up, brothers, sisters, my mom and dad, very loving family. We did lots of stuff together. Around age 13, my mom had been on a journey for the previous 2 years before that, so starting when I was about 11. And she came to a saving faith in Jesus Christ. And I remember a particular Saturday, we're sitting around, me, my brothers, my dad, aunts, and that's when I heard the gospel for the first time. Right at that moment, I realized that I needed that. So I accepted Jesus as my personal Lord and Savior at 13. It kind of awakened a need, or I got to find out more. I want to know more about God and Jesus and how that, because He made me and He knows who I am, now what is my purpose? Trying to find out what that purpose is actually started driving me. After high school, I went to Northwestern College, got into the pastoral studies program, which I absolutely loved. So 3 years of Greek and, studying the Bible every day, almost every class. Loved it. At the end of my junior year, I have this uneasy feeling, really, that this is not what I'm supposed to do. And so at the beginning of my senior year, which I didn't have very much to finish, I decided not to go back. It was really difficult. Linda and I got married in 1985. We get a little golden retriever puppy. Great dog. I started training her. And actually my dad had some friends over. We went hunting with my dog. One of the guys liked her so much he was going to get a puppy, and he asked me if I would train his dog. I said sure. So I trained his. After I trained his, then I get a couple more, and all of a sudden I'm getting more and more people asking me to train dogs. At that point, Linda and I decided this could really be something that we do. I love doing it. It could be a business, a viable business. And that was 28 years ago. As I've been training, I think that God has shown me some of these applications from my own life about how dogs respond to me. And one of the things I look for when I first start training a dog is that they start looking up at me. So they look, and as I'm walking, they're watching me to make sure that they're going where I go. And that's the first point in training, is that they yield. And they're yielding to me, basically, to what I want them to do. And if you look at that in a spiritual sense, the same way that we should be with God, yielding to what His purposes are in our life and finding out where He wants us to go. One of my favorite things about this, about Wings and Whistles and working with dogs, is not just the dogs, but working with people. And during those sessions of working with them, we get on lots of different subjects, and I get to know them, and they get to know me. And I think that God uses me in some of those moments, working with people, working with dogs, which is actually two things, pastoral studies, working with people, and the nature thing, working with dogs and creation and people and dogs together and helping them out. God's calling is not necessarily that He calls you to a specific vocation. I think that His calling is basically using the gifts that He created me with and use them for His purposes. So that's God's call for us, to be in tune with what He wants us to do.